Okay, so I did my research project on sea turtles. So my driving question was, when turtles get rescued, what are the rehab centers doing to get them back into the wild quicker instead of keeping them in the rehab center? So the first thing I decided to do is get some background information on sea turtles because I knew a little bit about them, but not enough to where I think I could have known more. So this is some basic background information. They are air-breathing reptiles. They can vary in different shapes, sizes, and colors. Their shells are to protect them from danger, and they don't have teeth, but their jaws are extremely strong. So their classification, they are classified as a reptile. They're in the family, I can't say this word. Clydodelia, I think is how I pronounce it. And there's 7 different species. So over here, just like the different turtle sizes, I mainly focused on green sea turtles, but there's like hawksbills, which you will learn more about them later on, and then just like leatherback and loggerheads and just flatback. And then their shells are also differently shaped. So their habitat, they live in subtropical or tropical waters. They like the rocky area and the shallow waters with reefs. Their diet. So different species will have different diets, but this is pretty much a summary. They are on a vegetarian diet. They'll eat seagrasses, algae, sponges, shrimp, and sea cucumbers. So this is the sponge right here. The middle picture is a sea cucumber, and then all the way over here, this is what seagrass is. Freshwater turtles have a different diet than sea turtles do. So reproduction, this kind of actually really surprised me. They lay hundreds of eggs from May to September. You will see them on the Gulf of Mexico shoreline. And when they hatch, the babies will be 1.5 to 3 inches long. So this was a picture of when they first hatch, and this is how they lay them. They dig a hole, and the turtles just lay them in the hole. So their shells. Their shells are hard, obviously, to protect them from danger. Barnacles, algae, and small crabs will live on their shell. So this is kind of a detailed picture of a sea turtle shell. The population. So they estimate there's about 6.5 million sea turtles. The hawksbill turtles, which is what I showed you on the species one, they're like this big in that picture. The population is expected to go down, but the hawksbill turtles have about 83,000 turtles. So this chart right here is showing the green sea turtles, and this is from 1980 to about 2013. So you see this very steady increase, which is showing you that the population is not growing as much as you think, so it's not growing exponentially. So rehab diets. So the rehab diets are similar, but not exactly the same as their normal diets. They'll typically eat fish, shrimp, squid, and like greens. And it varies on what is wrong with the turtle. So different turtles in rehab will have different diets. So in this picture, this is how they actually feed them. I'll get in a little bit more depth about why it's a tube. But this is actually in a rehab center. They feed them through a tube to limit human interaction. So tracking sea turtles. So it's more common when they return to the wild, so the researchers know they get back home safely. Tracking devices are used for many reasons, like how often they come up to breathe, how deep they'll dive, and how long they can dive for before coming back up for another breath. Tracking sea turtles can show researchers what habitat they're living in. I contacted an expert in this field. Her name is Larissa Adams, and she actually collects data and deals a lot with sea turtles. So she said it's super hard to catch them and get data on them because sea turtles, certain ones in certain areas, like she lives in North Carolina, they don't like human interaction. So it's hard, especially if the water is not clear. They can come up, and as soon as they see humans, they dive. So it's hard she said it was super hard to collect data for them. But in Hawaii, when the waters are clear, it's even harder because they can see you sooner, and they don't surface as much. So over here in this picture, this is what a tracking device looks like. It is on the shell. So then a fun fact about turtles is that they are a threatened and endangered species, and then only 1 in 1,000 hatch eggs will live to adulthood. which is another reason why we see them being endangered, is because very few of them actually, once they hatch, very few of them make it to the shore, because you have like seagulls and things that'll pick them up and take them away from their families. So now we're going to answer my driving question about what are the rehab centers doing. So I contacted South Carolina Aquarium, this is what it looks like from the outside. And I talked to Melissa Ramley. And so I asked her what they are doing, and she actually gave me some great information. She said the first thing they do when they receive turtles, they're mostly injured or they're weak or disabled. And so what they do is they start them off in shallow waters to get them comfortable, because it's a new habitat for them. And as soon as they're progressing and getting better, then they'll slowly make the depth deeper to get them ready to go back out into the wild. So the main thing that they want to do is isolate them from people. Because like I said, turtles are they don't like people. And so when they isolate them, it helps them rehab better and feel more comfortable, like they're at home in their habitat, and they'll put seagrasses all in there to make it feel like home. So when they feed them, they have that too, and that's how they insert their food to then again limit human interaction. So in these pictures, these are all from different rehab centers. And so at South Carolina Aquarium, they have technology which helps them identify and diagnose what is wrong with that turtle faster to help their rehab start even sooner. So they have CT machines, an in-house blood monitor, and then an endoscopic equipment to help them find out what is wrong. Because most of the time they come in with spine injuries, or they see a lot of things that they just get caught up in, like fishing gear if they're on the coast. So they have cuts and lacerations with the nets. And their goal, again, is to keep them stress-free. Turtles can get very stressed out if they have a lot of human interaction with them. So that's how they keep them separate, and they try and get them to interact with other turtles, but not as much, because if they're really stressed out, their rehab just gets pushed back. It takes them even longer to rehab and get better. And then when they go to release them, as you can see, it takes about 4 people to carry this. Turtles are very, very heavy, especially with their shell. So when they release them, they take them down to the coastline, and they slowly let them get used to the water, and then they finally just take off when they're released.
3, 2, 1. Questions?
More than just Abigail.
Not that you're not doing a good job.
Why turtles? Are you specifically fond of turtles, or
Okay, so I